This is going to be a quick video, more geared towards writers that are maybe stuck on a bit of a plateau right now with their writing and aren't seeing a whole lot of progress with their skill. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer a quick suggestion to maybe help refrain some of your writing and to help you see if maybe your writing is improving. Oftentimes with writing, what it is just a very long plateau. Many times you are going to be spent with your writing at a very kind of static level where for months and months and months you'll probably not see much improvement. Then all of a sudden, maybe at some point, your writing tends to jump up a little bit, and then it becomes kind of your newer level of plateau in a sense. And so during those periods, it's very difficult to tell if your writing is actually getting better, or there's a few maybe your writing is regressing a bit. So I want to do a quick video just to maybe offer a bit of a different perspective on that. So here it is. Ask yourself, is my writing clear? Is what I am putting down on the page in what I am trying to express, is that coming across clearly? If you printed off everything you wrote, like that section that you had just written, or the section that you're working on, and you gave it to someone else, would they be able to understand everything you are trying to say? It's perhaps a bit of an unconventional thing to ask, right? When people think of writing, they don't necessarily always think about the clarity they're writing, right? It seems like such a simple thing that you don't even really consider if what you are writing is actually coming across clearly to someone else. But the reason why I made that the litmus test that I suggested is that oftentimes when people write and their writing is poor, it's because they're not writing clearly. They're either trying to make their writing do a bunch of different things. It's trying to express some sort of subtext. It's trying to do your sentences are trying to do two different things at once. You're trying to make your work do all these really advanced things that are really, really cool if you can pull them off. But more likely than not, your complex metaphors, your wordplay, the subtleties that you're trying to get across in your writing, oftentimes trying to be so fancy, for lack of a better term, with your writing, it doesn't make your writing any clearer, and it actually comes across very, very poor. And on the other end of the spectrum, if your writing is filled with unnecessary words, redundancies, weak verbs that could be replaced with stronger ones, if there are these little subtle changes basically that are weighing your senses down and making them come across ineffective, that too basically is an indication basically that your writing is not being clear, and by cleaning those up, your writing is going to improve. Stephen King had once said that writing is basically a form of magic, in that I am putting a thought into a reader's head. The person that reads my work, I'm telepathically, in a sense, putting a thought into their head. And that's a good way of viewing the writing process, in that if you approach writing with that mentality in mind, you're always going to have clarity at the forefront of what you're trying to do. So if you are working much more in your writing towards clarity, towards cleaning up those sentences, your writing is improving. That it's a good standard basically to judge your writing by, is simply if your writing is coming across clear. Not so much if you are, the next Faulkner or the next Hemingway or something like that, but more of, is what I'm trying to say, getting across succinctly. After that, you can start getting into the fancy stuff, but there's a good period of time where you need to focus on just making your writing very, very succinct and very, very clear. For me, masterful writing is really like the punchline of a joke, in that a comedian goes on stage and they do the setup for the joke, right? And the audience is in their head trying to perhaps figure out where this joke's going, and they're putting, sort of putting the bits of the lead up to the punchline, the comedian's saying together. And then all of a sudden the comedian delivers the punchline, and it's hilarious because you've put the whole joke together in your head. The joke, the punchline was not known. You didn't necessarily know what the punchline was going to be for the joke, but once it comes out, it sounds like it was the only option, and you've put the whole thing together basically in your head. It just sounds, you are in essence completing the joke with them, and that's really the way that good writing is, in the sense that you get to a point where your sentences, they say, your prose will say basically go beyond what's on the page. It will say more than just what's literally there on the page. Your reader will come to understand what you're saying, both directly with the actual words. They'll understand the words you use, but they'll also understand the deeper meaning of what you're trying to say. It's finally getting that punchline, finally, getting the joke. And that is really what masterful writing is. When someone talks about someone being a masterful writer, that's what it is. It's someone that can craft their words and make their pages say things that are more than what they have that exists right on the page. The total is greater than the sum of its parts. In to use a bit of a cliched expression there. And so to do that, you need to first be very, very clear with what you're trying to say. Your words, before you can get to that point, your words need to be very, very clear with both what you are expressly saying, but also what you want your writing to say about the subtext and trying to convey underneath that. And so there it is, a simple test to see if your writing is improving. So if you are someone that's questioning if your writing has grown, or if what you are trying to write has improved, simply print off whatever section you've written, give it to someone else, and see if they understand it. Both understanding the actual words, what you physically written, and also the implication, the deeper thing you're trying to convey to the reader. If they're able to get both the implication as well as the words that are on the page, then you've done it. You've achieved it. Congrats. If not, it's a sign basically that you need to start revising your work and to start making your sentences a bit more clearer, so that way the deeper things you're trying to convey come out better on the page.